Montel from Triple M Enterprise. Delighted to be joined by Coach Arron, who's known as Azza in
My
the
bro,
boxing world.
thank you for coming down, man. Thank you for making the trip.
Look, I love the gym, I love the setup. And before we even get onto intent, I want to talk about you,
Okay.
Arron, the person. So
Yeah.
talk to me about, have you always had a sporting background? Is this what you've always wanted to do? Or
Yeah, so I've had sporting background since the age of 5, really. My childhood was actually spent between doing gymnastics and football. I actually suffered a bad injury as an 11-year-old. I ruptured my ACL, cruciate ligament in my knee, which sort of hampered my sporting achievement as far as how well I could do in sport as a child. But played football up to the age of about 19, when I then had a surgery on my knee and then sort of moved into something else.
Okay, so football, was you playing for a professional team or anything?
Not professional. Listen, when you're a kid, everyone's played at a club when they're a kid.
Yeah.
The amount of stories everyone goes on about. I played here and there. I've done a football scholarship at a semi-pro team at Wildstone, which is like a local semi-pro team for 2 years. Done a BTEC in national sport there, and then went to uni after that. We stopped playing football after that, to be honest.
Okay, and then what obviously spurred the boxing interest for you?
I've always been interested in boxing, just from a fan perspective. Had a couple of friends that boxed when we were young. Done a little bit of Finchley as a teenager, but didn't have any fights, just a little bit of training. And actually how I got back into boxing was a friend of my wife's. Her partner done a charity boxing event. We went to support him. And through the chaos of drinking and supporting him and whatever else, I've somehow been signed up to take part in one myself,
Yeah.
which I had no recollection of. To this day, I'm pretty sure my missus put my name down, to be honest. And I received an email saying, "You signed up to do a charity boxing fight," and jumped in and had a go. And just went from there and loved it, yeah.
So what made you think, right, do you know what, I want to do coaching now?
So the coaching thing, basically, ever since young, I've always enjoyed helping other people. I get more of a buzz of being involved in other people doing well than actually having success for myself. So a coaching role really has always been in the pipeline, I think. Not necessarily in boxing, but in some kind of sport. Did gymnastics and football coaching as a teenager. But mostly for injury, you know. I've got bad shoulders, bad back, I think from just overtraining as a kid. And when I had 9 or 10 just unlicensed fights, just jumping in, having a go, won a few and lost a few. And then from there, when I was unable really to fight anymore, it was just like a natural progression into coaching. There's a few lads in the gym that I was training with. We didn't really have a coach. We were just in there doing our own thing. And I kind of just developed into that role, starting with those lot really.
So through that development, what are some of the tricks that you learned on the job?
For boxing,
Yeah.
I was clueless, I had no idea. Like I said, I didn't have a background in boxing. So I was kind of winging it, to be honest. And looking back now, God knows what we were doing. But yeah, I started doing a little bit of training down at Don's gym with Danny Oliver. So I was picking up little bits and pieces from being around different environments. And then you just slowly learn it, right? I've always had a passion for doing well. So just effort, putting myself in environments that are going to be beneficial for me, working hard, being around the right people, making mistakes, not trying to make the same mistakes again. And yeah, it's just been a natural progression.
What advice have you taken from some of these people that you've worked with before that's really helped you, do you think?
Boxing is a funny game. Not many people actually want to help you out. It's the truth. It's a dog-eat-dog world, especially in a sport. You don't know who you're going to be competing against next. Not really I didn't really have a mentor as such, to be honest, in terms of the coaching, until I went to Jab Boxing, which is Josh Burnham's gym in Bushy, which I started my pro career boxing coaching from. And he gave me a big leg up, to be honest. He had already had a number of fighters, some of which were fighting on decent TV platforms. And yeah, he took me to a couple of shows once I had my license, took me to some big shows in lockdown, just sort of holding the bucket and then eventually moving on, doing a bit of cut work for him. So really I owe quite a bit to Josh for my entrance into pro boxing. He was the one that was encouraging me to say, listen, you're in the gym all the time, you're coaching these unlicensed lads. If you're going to take it seriously, why don't you come on board and I'll give you a hand. So that was really the entrance into pro boxing.
Yeah, perfect. What was it like when you're training some of these athletes as well? Like, what was your experience like when you first started off coaching?
In terms of
Boxing.
how I was training, how I was training them,
Yeah, so like, what was
I
your
have no
experience?
experience. Like, I actually failed my board license meeting when I first went in. Got ripped a new one by the panel. Rightly so. I strolled in there, didn't read the book, thinking I could just say, yeah, I'm down at this gym with this person, and they'll go, oh, you're in good hands, you'll be all right. Well, boy, was I surprised. Yeah. Sent me away with my tail between my legs, which 100% was the right thing to do. Like, you're in a position of responsibility, and I wasn't responsible enough to be in that position. So those have definitely done the right thing. But yeah, in terms of my experience and what I was doing with the coaching, it was just learning on the job. Like I said, learning from Josh, learning from the boys he was working with, traveling around sparring with them, learning from different coaches on sparring trips, and just slowly building my own method of coaching based on everything that I've been learning.
Yeah. And that experience that you've mentioned that you've obviously had and
Yeah.
what's come to today, talk to me about obviously when you had the idea to start up your own setup, like Intent Boxing.
So to be honest, I spent almost 5 years at Jab. I had some great times, some great experiences, some good people down there. My team was growing. Josh's team was growing in terms of the pro staff. I just needed to do my own thing. Obviously, Neon was doing his own thing over at another gym in Harpenden, and actually moved house. So I grew up in Edgware. The gym in Bushy was 10 minutes away.
Yeah.
My family now moved up to Dunstable way, and it was quite a journey down to Watford every day. So that played a big role in the decision of doing something a little bit closer to home. And Neon done a lot of the S&C with the athletes I was working with. So it just made sense to come together and try and do our own thing under one roof.
Yeah, talk to me about Intent, like how you even got the idea of the name and the setup.
So before Intent Boxing, Neon's brand was actually Intent Fitness. So he'd been running the brand Intent for a long time. So he'd already got a following. It just made sense just to do an add-on of Intent Fitness and follow that branding into Intent Boxing.
Talk to me about Mitchell Smith.
So Mitchell, right. So actually Mitchell was the actual first licensed boxer that I worked with. And obviously his brother Jez was in the gym. He was training with Josh. Mitchell waddled into the gym at about 110 kilos. And funny story actually. So before I met Mitchell properly, we'd just come out of lockdown and I had a couple of the unlicensed guys fighting. I needed a bit of sparring. And Mitchell brought a lad down and he come down, I think it was a Saturday or a Sunday. And obviously I'd seen Mitchell on TV. I knew him for what he was, never met him personally. And he strolled in and he was this fat barrel of a man. And I just thought, fucking hell, like, what has happened to this fella? So our lad sparred, and after we were just having a chat, and I just said to him, mate, what are you doing? Look at the state here, yeah? And actually knowing the man now, it was a little bit of a risky way of speaking to him without even knowing at him. And I think he was a bit taken aback, thinking, who's this fella talking to like that? But for me, I wasn't like mugging him off. For me, I was thinking more of let's rally this fella up. Like, you shouldn't be this version of what you are. You need to do better. Like, and so a few months later, probably 6 months later, he sort of waddled into the gym at Jab, and we got talking. He thought I was a prick, to be honest. I think because of the way that I approached him, and but quickly realised that we were actually quite similar, and we sort of built a little friendship through Jez, really, actually, because I was quite friendly with Jez. And then we just started messing around, do a bit of body sparring, taking him on the pads a little bit, and he started getting a little bit of a buzz for it. And they do a little gym show at Jab, like a Christmas. This one was around Christmas time. He thought I need to make a little bit of money for Christmas, so he jumped in. I trained him for like a little unlicensed fight, like a little gym bout, and I think he just got the buzz back from there. And he went, Azza, I want to give it another go. I said, I'm in. And 4 years later, this is where we are now, not through loss of life and hair and lots of other things along the way. But yeah, that was kind of the start of our coaching journey together.
And talk to me about how you actually bring on fighters. Like, what do you look for in fighters that you want to work with?
Being coachable's got to be the number one, you know? Like, having a talented fighter who's not willing to listen to what you're trying to get them to do is a very difficult thing to do. Obviously, coaches and boxers, not everybody is for everybody. I'm not the right coach for everybody. And I've done trials with fighters before that I've turned around and said, I don't think I'm the right coach for you. And I've had fighters say, I don't think you're the right coach for me, which I think is very important to be honest and open in that kind of environment. You don't want to get stuck in a relationship where one of you aren't happy. You spend a lot of time with these people. From a boxer's perspective, they put a lot of trust in you, or they should be putting a lot of trust in you. And if they don't, the relationship breaks down pretty quickly. And like the value that you're bringing to the boxer, it's not there. And it very, very quickly breaks down, and it's not beneficial for either partner.
So to advertise obviously what you're doing here
Yeah.
with Intent Boxing,
Yeah.
if there's fighters out there looking to join, what would
Yeah.
you say the key, other than being coachable, what would you say the key traits are for them that they would be able to work with you?
For pros,
Yeah, for pros.
to be honest, I'm not too picky on that. Like I said, the main thing for me is, are you willing to be coached? Are you willing to take on information, and are you willing to trust what we do here? That's got to be the main thing. It doesn't matter if you're a world champion or somebody who's just turning over. From a coach's perspective, I enjoy coaching to bring fighters on. If they're not willing to learn, they're not willing to trust what you're telling them. Yeah, I think that's really the key bit for me.
Okay. And I hope you don't mind me obviously mention Ben Davison, you've done some work,
Yeah.
you do some work with him still
Yeah,
to this
yeah,
day.
yeah.
Like, how did that relationship spawn?
Do you know what? So I mean, I've obviously got a lot owed to Ben and Lee and all the boys down at the Performance Centre. So we used to go down there sparring, to be honest. And one day I took a lad down sparring, and he sparred one of Ben's boys. And I think, to be honest, Ben sort of noticed that when we were down there, I was taking time in watching what they were doing. I'd come early, I'd stay a little bit after, try and suck some information from that environment. What they're doing in this situation, what's he saying, why is he doing that? And it was after sparring one day, and he just jumped in and showed a little bit to one of the lads. I just thought he didn't need to do that. Like, doesn't need to help anybody. And we were sitting there and we were talking about how difficult boxing is and the business of boxing, and like the question you just asked, how do you get to the next stage? How do you attract fighters? And he just said, listen, if you can make time in your schedule to come down to mine, do a bit of coaching with the boys, sit with him and Lee, and just be in the environment and just get as much as I can from the time that I'm spending there to put into my own coaching, then he was willing to allow me to do that. And I was just like, wow, can't turn that down. And then sort of for the last year or so, once a week, just been going down to his, little bit of pad work with the boys. To be honest, I enjoy mostly just watching, just sitting down, side of the ring, pen out, just taking notes. Like if I showed you my phone, I've got files and files and files of stuff that I've written down and got from their coaching, and sort of trying to take bits from there and put into my own coaching.
And obviously that's always key, having people that you can actually, like you said before, about not having everyone that you can rely on, but some people that can actually help you and advise you, which is always important.
Yeah.
Now, what is a future plan for Intent Boxing? Like, what is the long-term scale?
In terms of the gym,
Yeah.
so obviously the gym, I think this is month 6 actually since we've opened. So obviously my pro coaching is slightly separate to what we do at the gym. The gym offers generic classes for the general population. We do 2 classes a day, which we've got different memberships and packs and stuff, where you can come and enjoy the gym and the classes. And Neon and I both offer one-to-one coaching to the general population, which is great. It's hard work, a lot of stress, but it is where it is. Like, in order for both of us to grow as coaches and for us to offer a service that we felt that we needed to, it was a move we had to do. In terms of the boxing, it's really hard to make money as a coach in boxing. You need to get quite lucky off the back of working hard, meet the right people, be in the right place at the right time, meet the right athlete, meet the right boxer. If in 5 years' time I would be able to have the gym paying for itself, and for me to be able to support my family through coaching professional boxing, that'd be great. Yeah, like, I'm not too fussed about becoming super rich and super wealthy and having a nice car, and like, I love coaching. Like, I was probably born to do this. So being able to support myself and my family through coaching and sustaining the gym through the boxing, that'd be great. Yeah, that'd be really great.
No, it's great ambition, to be fair. And from what I've seen so far on social media and everything like that, you are definitely locked in and focused on it.
For sure.
How important is the marketing side of things for you as a professional boxing coach as well?
Marketing in terms of...
So marketing in terms of obviously marketing, not just Intent Boxing, the brand itself as a professional coach as well.
Do you know what with that? Like, I don't know how much of a role that actually plays. I think reputation plays a lot. So if you have been in the game coaching for a number of years and you've coached X amount of champions, new fighters turning over, new amateurs, etc., athletes looking for a new trainer, they'll often look up to the big names. So when you're trying to make a name for yourself, often it's very difficult to attract those fighters, regardless of actually what value you could give them. Why would somebody want to train with somebody unknown if a bigger name would take them on? So it is a challenge. But I think success and results should speak for themselves. Like I said, I'm relatively new to, I think it's my 5th year coaching pro boxing. So I'm not expecting to have world champions coming knocking at the door saying, you're the man for us. In time, I believe that will be the case. I do have fighters asking me for coaching regularly, of which maybe I might have a new one starting next week. So that is the thing. I think if you just keep turning up, if you keep proving your worth to the fighters you're working with, and people are seeing improvements in the athletes you're currently working with, it's hard to deny facts, right? If you're showing evidence of the athletes you're working with are becoming better boxers and their results are improving, within time and a little bit of luck and being around the right people, which I feel like I really am now, in time I think it will happen. Yeah, and we'll get some bigger names and grow our stable. Not to say that the athletes I'm working with now aren't. Obviously working with Shannon Ryan, who's an unbelievable athlete, recently won a IBF title, looking to move on to world honours in the new year. Ibrahima Diallo, who's a 258 managed Belgium lad from Guinea. He comes over, does his camps here. We're actually off to Ghana in December on the Matchroom card. He's fighting for an IBF Intercontinental as well. So that's great. Obviously Mitchell's just won the WBO European at lightweight and probably moving down in the new year, see what's available for him. And also working with Shauna Brown at the minute, who's a Gold Star athlete. She's out next Friday actually in Stoke. She's got an 8-rounder, and after that she'll be pushing on for titles as well. So actually the collection of fighters that we've got right now are all pushing on title level, and most of them fighting on the TV. Yeah. So that's going to be helpful not only for me, but for them pushing on the career. Because really my job is just to make them the best athlete they can.
Yeah, and to be fair, like you mentioned, they're doing that at the moment.
And they are, yeah.
World honours, and I think that's always key. So obviously we spoke about next steps, we spoke about Intent Box, we spoke about you. Talk to me about like your reflections to some of the greatest achievements that you felt like you've done.
In boxing, obviously.
Yeah.
The achievement we done 2 weeks ago with Mitch, forget that he won a title, forget that it was on a Frank Warren show at the O2, which he's never boxed at before. The story and the journey we've been on the last 4 years, in my opinion, is probably the greatest comeback story of all time. Like, especially in this country. I know everybody knows the Tyson story, but Tyson was already a world champion, already a multiple millionaire. Then yeah, he had his problems and went off the rails and managed to pull himself out of the depths, and unbelievably so. Mitchell didn't have that. He had no money. He wasn't a world champion. Stints in prison, broken leg, COVID, up and down to 100 kilos from 60 kilos 3 times. Other injuries, just like, I can't, like, the stuff that has happened in the last 4 years, he should never really have been in a boxing ring again, is the truth. And I probably, from a personal standpoint, I don't think I'll ever match that. Like, I could go and win world titles with multiple fighters. The achievement and what that actually took from both of us to get him to achieving what he did 2 weeks ago, I think it's unrivaled in terms of the effort and the actual the journey that it took for us to get there was really difficult. Obviously, Shan winning the world title, winning the IBF title was nice. I expected her to do that, to be honest. When she came, I knew her potential. And since she's come, she's just gone like blown through the roof. Everyone's raving about how much improved she is, and that she's potentially going to be a world champion in 2026. So I'd say those two were probably, especially in recent times, the two biggest achievements to date.
They are huge. And what I want to finish on is, if you had advice for your younger self,
Yeah.
what advice would that be?
That's a very difficult question, you know. Buy Bitcoin. That would have been, I might not be here talking to you if I bought some Bitcoin when I was 20. That would have been nice. I don't really like that, you know. I don't think, like, it's difficult to advise because when you're young, everybody tries to advise you. Everyone says, like, oh, you should be doing this, from your parents or peers or friends. You never listen. You have to make your own mistakes. And often, growth is built in failure. Do you know what I mean? So actually, I probably wouldn't advise myself anything. I might have done stuff slightly differently, but I would have still failed along the way in other ways. So actually, it's irrelevant. Even if I'd given my old self advice, you should have been doing this, I would have messed up on something else. So yeah, I think everybody shouldn't really dwell in the past. Just live for the moment, grow in the moment, and just enjoy yourself, man. Yeah, maybe just that might be one thing. No matter what happens, just enjoy every day. We're not here for very long. So yeah, just do what makes you happy. Think about other people. Yeah, and just do good stuff.
That was the answer I was actually looking for. So
yeah, do good stuff.
That's good, man.
My bro.
Really appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you for coming down, my bro. And we'll speak soon, yeah?
Yeah, definitely.